It's a pleasure to have you here. We are getting ready for
It takes effect
TL.
next week, you know?
Okay.
It's
That wasn't communicated to me.
This is
Perfect.
the-
So I
the
only have
last
to be
dance.
nice to you
Yeah.
for one more day. Perfect. So TL Academy taking on IMT Progressive Academy. Both teams coming off some serious performances yesterday, but as well as both in the same kind of situation right now coming into the series itself.
I think that we cannot emphasize enough how much these two teams have really stepped it up in the back half of our academy season. Coming into this series, or this week, I should say, both teams had a 500 record, tied for that fourth spot. It was a three-way tie, so that meant that they were still fighting to stay in that top six, trying to separate themselves from the teams chasing them. And I think importantly, in their last three series, both of these squads are 5-1. They're really bringing it to the table as we approach Proving Grounds, solidifying themselves for the seeding going into that tournament. And I'm excited to see them go toe-to-toe here because I think both teams are on a mini hot streak, and the wins in the standings are still very important as we get closer and closer to Proving Grounds.
Yeah, and it's a bit of return to form, right, for Immortals. The 4-0 start, we keep bringing it up because it was exciting to see, and seeing that now that they are back on that hot streak is good change of pace.
I think it was return to form for Team Liquid, man. They got Ayla back. They look
what I
like
was
they're
gonna
playing
say.
in summer of last year again.
They're making Spawn happy. You see the happy tweets from Spawn. That's always a good indication. But seriously, the macro game looked good yesterday from Team Liquid, where it hasn't necessarily in the recent past. So it's very exciting for Team Liquid itself. But they're going to have a tall task coming up against a very macro strong IMT Progressive yesterday that showed off some of their great performances. We'll bring up their roster as well and show off. Sorry, not their roster, rather. But talking a little bit more about Team Liquid itself and Ayla, like you were talking about, Cubby, before. This guy coming in, a resurgence into Academy, had some time in the LCS, but is making waves in the Academy scene itself.
And I think that's something that a lot of fans, don't think about or may, not keep in mind is what we see in Academy a lot of the times. And that is for some of these teams, Academy, they are the backup still to LCS. And we have seen that effect come into both of these teams as Ayla stepping up into LCS while Core JJ was still securing that visa. It definitely is something that Team Liquid Academy have talked a lot about and having an effect on their team. I mean, not only, Rhino stepping in and switching up members, but also getting Ayla back and, using some of the things that he learned in that LCS stage and playing with that team, bringing that to Academy. We saw two great lanes out of him yesterday in his second return back with the squad, and Team Liquid Academy looked back on form.
And I always find it really interesting because obviously the first welcome back didn't go Team Liquid's way, but now after having a little bit more time and a little bit more synergy, you can see why this team is so feared and why they looked so good last year and now coming into this year as well. So it is also exciting, but IMT Academy themselves are so excited. This team started off with a bang into the season, had a big slump, but now it feels like they are back. Talking to Chad yesterday, he felt resurged with energy coming into the rest of this split, getting ready for Proving Grounds, and it just seems like they have found their momentum again. And with Wild Turtle coming in, they haven't missed.
And that's what I was about to say. Wild Turtle, people like to meme him all the time, but if you look how he performed yesterday, especially, he really turned up the heat. The first game, the first game on Tristana was really good with how he was. Oh, it was the first game or second game? I got to check my notes really quick.
He was first.
It was the kiting that he had on that Tristana. The clip was too long for me to show for a pre-show, but you just watch as he's able to constantly dodge away from a lot of the engage that was attempted by evil geniuses. It shows that prowess he has as a player, constantly being mindful of his positioning to help out the team, kiting back and then re-engaging.
I just think when you see Wild Turtle jumping forward into 5 people on Tristana with the Yumi on him, that's when you know he's back. But you get these kinds of plays coming through. A bit scrappy from IMT, but they know when to target and who to target.
That's why I have to applaud Wild Turtle's positioning. A lot people, again, like to meme him about that, say, okay, his positioning's not been the greatest, but we've really seen, especially in the wins that Immortals had on the LCS stage and then IMTA in the Academy, where he, right there, aggressive, goes in, because they know they have that ability to actually get these kills. They fully commit with the knowledge, hey, this isn't actually an overextension. We hit level 6 before they got level 6. We can easily kill them.
Yeah, so that bot lane is definitely the spotlight for this one, and a lot of eggs in the bot lane basket for both these teams, especially maybe in a little bit different of situations. But that's where I want to dive into a little bit more, because when you're looking at win conditions, a lot of these wins, yes, there are some snowballs here or there, but a lot of the times it's coming down to the very solid macro decisions of the later game, mid to late game decision making that seems to be the bane, but also the crutch for both of these teams, because they find success, but they also find a little bit of maybe disheartenness in it. So I'm very excited to see how that kind of works out in the first game of the series and how that adapts going through halftime into game number 2. As I do here, we are ready for that first game of the day. So Magical, Cubby, take it away.
Thank you so much, Marcel. We'll see you for the halftime show. It's always good having you around to help us break down these series. But we got to get ready for our first one of day 2, week 7. Immortals Academy, Team Liquid Academy, both of them riding high, like you said, Cubby, in that pre-show. Both of them in the last 3 series are 5-1. I mean, they could technically still be tied going out of this, but it would be a 6-2 if that happens, if they go 1-1 today. Obviously, since both teams are tied in the standings, they don't want that. They want to break that tie and continue to climb up and try to maybe even grasp maybe a higher seed than even just 4th.
And in case you missed our pre-show or don't have the standings available to you, they are both tied 4th at 15 and 13 overall with the record. So that means the team in 6th is 1 game behind them, and then the team in 7th is only 2 games behind them. So both these teams looking to put some space between themselves and the teams that are trying to chase them. And remember, for Proving Grounds, that top 6 position means that you don't have to play in the play-in stage. You are guaranteed a spot in the bracket stage. Don't have to play that do or die best of 3 against an amateur team, which, even though it's the bottom 4 teams of amateur, I think everyone would like to start in the tournament instead of having to earn their place there.
Oh, for sure. And I was just double-checking this because I want to see the standings. They are 1 series behind Cloud9 at this point. Both teams are. That's how close they are.
It's a close race.
Grabbing maybe 3rd or even contesting CLG while that team continues to have to slump. But as we dive into Champion Select for this first series, Ari, Yumi, banned away. got taken early by Team Liquid. We see a lot of that ban towards concept, more towards the second round of bans, not the first.
And so, for people not familiar with this Immortal squad, or maybe for some LCS fans, coming to the stream to watch Wild Turtle, Concept has one of the most unique champion pools that we have in Academy. His most played champions, it is 8 games of Urgot, 5 games of Wukong, 4 games of Mundo, and then 3 games on Singed and Scion. It's a very different champion pool. Team Liquid, we've seen a lot of teams, take pieces away to not deal with it. They're going to take the Urgot away, and Team Liquid immediately opens with a Karma, which we know is important, Mad Magical, because yesterday, Ayla played Karma in both of their wins with Yawn's Ezreal, and it looks like they're setting up for that comp again today.
And what has been left open, Bobby? When we look at the bans, no Zeri is banned. We don't have to... I don't see either of these ADCs actually really playing that. I mean, we've seen Yawn play it in the past, but with the grab of Karma and how he played Ezreal yesterday, I expect them to go back to that. It worked so well in tandem with Ayla. You could tell the communication between these 2 bot laners was still perfectly on form and on point like it was the previous year, even with Ayla spending a bit of time in the LCS.
And, it always takes time for teams to gel. That's something that Team Liquid has been very public about. But seeing how they gelled yesterday, their identity from summer really being Armeo and Ayla running the map together, that's what Team Liquid returned to. And we're looking to see that again today, but we do have to pause the champ select. It is going to be the Karma Ezreal like we expected out of Team Liquid, but that Zeri is still going to get locked in by Immortals. We have rapid fire picks as the Rise for Harry, countered by Pretty's Orianna. This is a common match we've seen quite a bit of, so I think notably, neither team has locked in a jungler yet. Should see a lot of bans thrown at that position as these teams look to round out their team comps, and I'm looking now for ways that Team Liquid can lock down Zeri. Because if you do not have ways to lock down Zeri when the game goes late, she can 1v9 any game. So I want to see if they go for things like Camille, Renekton, anything like really early power that can get on top of this champ, and try to make sure that you guys can take her down.
I want to see Bradley play his Aurelia. That is what I want to see, Cubby. We haven't seen that. I think
just side lane. That's how you beat Zeri.
I mean, I just like Bradley on Aurelia. I'll be honest. I think you side lane, you just try to out macro Immortals. You never have to worry about this area. You just stay away. You're like, all right, whatever. We're just going to constantly harass you 1-3-1.
Hold on. So that Jax ban, that tells me that they are trying to set up for Camille. Now, one of the first series that we saw in Academy, it was countered by, it was FlyQuest. They played it. Golden Guardians played Ryze plus Camille into it. So you not only could play sides to play around it, but also in the team fights, you had a way to lock down the champions. So that Jax ban does tell me that they might be trying to set up for something like a Camille, maybe even the Aurelia too at Magical. But Team Liquid, one more ban to throw out. Not a lot of bans have been hit in the jungle. And that Hecarim ban, that tells me that Chad might be setting up for his Viego.
Right.
So wouldn't be surprised if Team Liquid take it off the board here.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Cubby. I was looking at that, the Hecarim ban, and now Jarvan ban. That's another champion that Chad's played a lot with. Viego wide open. And counterpick for Concept has been a big thing for this team to really utilize and trying to get advantage on the top side of the map. Concept is, having interviewed him, talked to him, my lab assistant might say, he likes to play more for strategy and helping out the team. He's not really too concerned with just outright stomping his lane. He wants to set up vision. He wants to try to see if he can gain a little bit of an advantage with the knowledge of the rest of the team so they can then utilize him for team fights.
And, you know, when you have the Mundo, the Scion, the Wukong in your champ pool, that is where Concept excels. Now, I did tease the Viego for Chad. That will be the pick. Important. It is his most played. He's 7-3 on the champion in 10 games. So, really good look for Chad, picking up some comfort for him. Team Liquid now looking to round out their team with a top laner and a jungler.
There you go.
It will be the Xin Zhao. So giving that Ryze Xin a lot of early 2v2 power if they are able to catch people out, find the gank. Then that's
right.
the Camille I was setting up. You have that Hex Tech ultimatum to attack Zeri as the game goes on. And we'll have to see what Concept's pick is into the Camille, because this is pretty good into his rather tank-heavy champ pool. So maybe we see a Wukong, maybe we see a Graves or something new from Concept.
Yeah.
Could see Tryndamere.
Tryndamere is something he's played. He's very comfortable with the champion.
It's not too hot, though, in the rest of the team.
Yeah, exactly. The
Yeah,
Wukong, there it is. I was just being selfish. I wanted Aurelia because I still want to see Bradley play it. We got to see it all the time in Proving Grounds last year. This year, he's been playing more for the team, which props to him, and I applaud him with working with Team Liquid, having swapped from mid to top. It just, you know, it's selfish. It's selfishness from my side.
And a lot of the piece that we did yesterday on Bradley before their game against FlyQuest, it was about his strength as a team fighter and him kind of role swapping the top, still needing to fill the gaps to get better at lane. It was a series against 100 Thieves, my bad. But yeah, I think that Bradley yesterday, he played 2 new champions in the top lane. He's now up to 16 unique champions this split. I think it really speaks to his flexibility, kind of leaning into that mid lane champion pool, but also now Bradley playing more of those traditional top laners, laning better with them, and we saw his Camille yesterday. It was fantastic. So I want to see, I know he's into the counter pick a Concept. I think that Bradley is going to be really important this game because he's the one that has to engage onto Zeri, but also he's the one that with this Ryze Camille combo, it gives you that side lane power, the ability to attack sides. So I think a lot of emphasis is on Bradley in the later stages of the game. And I do also want to keep our emphasis on, can Yeon and Awa replicate the performance they had yesterday against 100 Thieves with this Ezreal Karma? Because that was huge in their 2-0 over 100 Thieves.
And honestly, it's going to be an interesting bot lane, right? Zeri Nautilus, we've seen Zeri picked a few times now with patch 12.4, getting through draft a bit more often. But we usually see that paired with things like Yuumi. We saw, I think, a Rakan game yesterday from that was paired up with it.
Cowrie, yeah.
Cowrie. That's because I think Yuumi had been taken away to deny that initially. But Nautilus isn't something we've seen. I know Kelsey, our producer, actually is big on not playing with Yuumi for Zeri and playing more of these engaged kind of champions to help the Zeri kite.
And it's something that Immortals will have to be careful about in the early game, because if those dredge lines do not connect from the Nautilus, it is an immense amount of poke coming out of Karma Ezreal. So I think that something Team Liquid did really well yesterday was they took priority in the lanes and they were able to attack 100 Thieves with that priority. And when I look at the map here, they have Prio Bot, they have the ability to move Ryze on a mid and a Xin Zhao that can get up in the face of Viego. I want to see if Team Liquid set up any level 1s, what their play is within the first 2 clears of the jungle, because I think they really have an opportunity to get up in the face of Immortals, slow down what this big 5v5 that they've set up for, and try and start to execute their side lane composition that Team Liquid can, and use the push insides to attack this area in the later stages of the game.
Well, Cubby, there's only one way to find that out. That is by getting into our game and seeing how it plays out between Team Liquid Academy and Immortals Academy. Immortals all clumped up as 5, but look bot lane. Team Liquid, they have 4 members there. If they get spotted out, if they try to maybe be passing ships in the night, there's a possibility when they retreat, they clash with one another, and Bradley's not there.
And this is pretty common with Karma Ezreal combos because your level 1 is so powerful with that Mantra Q from Karma and the Mystic shots, as it looks like we're going to get a little bit upside down early. Both teams going for wards on the bot side buffs, and both will be able to find it. We'll see if Immortals finds Team Liquid on the exit. This could get a little bit hairy here.
This is what I was saying. This is what I was worried about. Look at Harry.
No.
Harry's walking right into the trap that awaits him in the tri-bush for first blood out of Immortals.
So when you go for, these invades, these bot lane plays, I always like, having someone like Bradley, instead of like sitting top, dropping a ward somewhere and then moving top so you can cover an extra entrance. And Team Liquid only covering 2 entrances there, they get punished. Immortals, they wrap around, they get first blood. Harry intelligently did not burn that flash, but will be a little bit of extra gold going over to Pretty when he's able to base.
That was a great blind hook from Joey Ayla. You've got no escape. You have flash, but you're rude. There's the heal to survive. A little bit of poke back onto Wild Turtle, but that's still damage being pumped out by Zeri. The flash away from Joey, barely to hold on to his own life as Yon. Oh, the minion body block to get the kill for Yon. Top lane concept. Ignite, you're dead, dude.
Oh, no. Oh, what is going on across the map as everyone opts into level 1s in Team Liquid? They just went out on each side.
Yeah, and when we take a look at this replay, I'm curious to see how it started in the top lane. If it was Bradley initiating or if it was Concept.
What the? Okay, so Concept jumps in. Bradley started Q in this matchup, and I guess with the grass plus Ignite, Bradley just sticks it. Gets the kill. A big over-aggression from Concept. As we have 3 kills in under 3 minutes here, Mad Magical, and just like that, that first blood for Immortals, it goes to the wayside with some good play from Team Liquid.
And now Chad's invading Armeo. The ward has been spotted out.
He's not spotted.
I thought he spotted out the ward. He walked into the bush a little bit after it got placed. I'm surprised. He has no idea. Look at this. It could be a smite fight. Chad's nearby and steals away the red buff. But now a little bit of a skirmish between the two. Armeo realizes Joey was the first one on the call, so he had to back out.
Well done. And I love how Chad's sticking around for the Raptors, too. He knows that he has the backup of his support. This is a big win for Immortals early. 2 camps going over to Chad, and now
they're
maybe skipping over
That's a Hex Flash getting the flash away from Harry, but Concept has also joined this one. Blasco brings Concept with them. Harry, he's low, but he's kiting it back. That Rune Prison was big to keep his own life.
Okay, Harry is still forced to miss quite a bit of waves. He does have TP to get back, but I like how Immortals using some of this early priority. This is something that we're setting up for Team Liquid with this Ezreal Karma bot lane. And I know that IMT, they lost that level 1 down there, but still Joey able to back up his jungler. Chad able to play with priority, get in the face of Armeo, and slow the side of Team Liquid down early.
Well, it's also big props with how a lot of that played out, because bot lane, like you said, they lost that fight. Top lane, they lost the fight as well. But Concept had a shove. He noticed the wave was frozen. Not much you could do, except for go and join mid lane. The 4-member dive on to Harry gets him out of lane, as you talked about, Cubby. Helps Pretty gain a little bit more control than he already had over Harry.
Now, Armeo is going to try and pick up the Gromp respawn, which he should get since Chad's clearing out his top side. So I like this response coming out of Armeo. But a lot of credit is due to Chad. I think that early game pathing, we talked about how Viego, it's been his most played and most comfortable champion this split. Him showing that off a little bit, just a really good read on where he could attack Xin Zhao, was able to sneak around that ward. Really clever play by Chad, pays off, and gets Immortals something early.
And what I love about Chad playing Viego is the fact that he doesn't go for the scaling idea with Viego. It's always the level 3 ganks.
The skirmishing power that this champion has, I think, is really underrated. Something that Chad is always able to get something out of. And I keep in mind, we expected Team Liquid to be the one that, had prio early. You have this rise in Zhao. You can make plays with it, but Immortals, by Chad taking away 2 camps, Immortals rotating to get the flash out of Harry.
Yeah.
They've really punished it. Now Bradley, this play is going to get spotted. We'll see if they still go for it.
He could, but look at where Chad is. He is there to answer just in case there's the hook shot over the wall from Bradley, so he can't really reliably go for that. He doesn't know where Chad was.
And I think that's okay from Bradley. He crashed the wave. He doesn't have TP. There was nothing else for him to do. So walking down, just looking optimistically, I think is all right for Immortals. But for Bradley, we really set him up as being someone that can be big this game. We also set him up as someone that, needs to work on his laning. Well, he was gifted a kill level 1 Mad Magical.
Yeah.
And he is someone that can get on top of this Zeri and make her life really difficult in the team fights. So I really want to see if Bradley can utilize the early power that he got in this lane to have a big impact on the map on his Camille, which he played for the first time yesterday.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about Bradley. He has a champion Ocean. You can pretty much give him anything. He's flexible.
16 unique champs.
It's absolutely insane.
We've played 28 games.
Yeah, it's more than half.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm applauding him. I love looking at how Bradley has grown here in Academy. And
Please check this
I
brush.
know, that's why I'm kind of holding my breath on talking about this.
You have so many abilities to check this brush if you're Team Liquid. Please just throw a
Yeah, I was about to say, you have Ayla or Yawns.
Do some due diligence.
It doesn't matter whose it is. You just got one of them. Either are perfect.
Come on, Yawn.
Oh, no, Yawn. Well, the minions are kind of helping him, but Joey can't easily.
No, he's playing it smart,
but Joey has Flash. Flash, auto, hook. That's how you play Nautilus to look for this one, so there's no escape for...
Drop a Q.
Yep, okay.
All right, this is good. This is good.
He's playing it really safe because he's not seeing the spot lane, and he's like, okay, this is a fat wave. There's got to be something up. Oh, Yawn, no, you...
And Chad, he's sticking it,
Yawn.
man. He's...
Yawn.
Throw it. Okay.
Oh, they never checked it.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
no.
All right.
He is level
well,
6. That is the one saving grace for him at the moment. A lot of experience
wave's
was eaten
big.
up,
A was
but
here
he's
now.
waiting to hold on to the stun. But Yawn is doing a great job of utilizing the minions that were stacked up, so there was no stun from Chad.
That's a lot of wasted time now for Chad. He was the one who got in the face of Armeo early, took away 2 of his camps. Now, he showed he has this full jungler to clear out. So this could be a window for Armeo to make a play. He's about to wrap up his 3rd clear. And Dragon now is on the table. You have this Ezreal Karma. Chad's pathing to the other side of the map. We could see them attack it.
Yeah, okay, Pretty used Shockwave. He has to flash because he kind of overextended. He didn't know where Armeo was since all that time that Chad had spent in the bot lane allowed Armeo that freedom and flexibility to be anywhere.
Okay, so Armeo looks mid instead of looking at the Dragon. I do think something else I want to see from Team Liquid, setting up this Rift Herald. Bradley has on the Camille, has a nice lead in the top side. And a lot of the strategy from Team Liquid, it's getting these solo lanes big so they can be self-sufficient. You push out sides, use that to create angles and attack the Zeri. I think Rift Herald's really important for Team Liquid's game plan to do that. Bradley has a lead top. I want to see if Armeo and Harry can help set up this Rift Herald cleanly with Bradley because I think they should be able to do it without having to rotate their bot lane up. And it's a big, important objective in getting those solo lanes gold and trying to break that first turret, which would really help TL.
Chad, oh, nice flash from Harry. But that flash is burned immediately, which means that Chad just can clear out a little bit more of his jungle and show back up mid soon.
And you can see Armeo, so he opted, he's on his 3rd clear, pathing bot to top. He's going to take the Wolves, and I think they can start to look at this Rift Herald soon. You can see Bradley, whenever he gets priority at the moment, he based and TP'd back, but now he's using it to shift down, get vision. And after this next wave, it should be enough for Team Liquid to start it up.
I would say so if it weren't for the fact that we see already a big group from both sides in mid lane. It could be a little bit dicey. They haven't cleared out anything in that pit, so instead they have to get concept first. If they can remove the Wukong, that removes a good team fighting element for Team Immortals.
Chad's trying to
get
get here.
The ultimatum. He uses the Cyclone, but look at Ayla showing up to make sure that concept is dead.
It's a beautiful roam, and this is what I wanted to see out of Team Liquid. It's really important for their composition. Ayla coming up just guarantees that there is no counter. Joey, to be fair, was here to answer, but that's the bot lane priority. The enemy support gets there first, and now Team Liquid gets to start the objective with a man advantage. Now, Concept does have TP when he respawns if Immortals still wants to think about this.
Well, there it is. TP to the turret because it is under that 14-minute mark. Doesn't have the empowered TP. It will be a little bit of a skirmish around this. It's down low, but a simple reset, a little bit of aggro traded. It's going to go one way, but that's a lot of damage on the other side. They've got Bradley. He hook shots out of there. And that's the flash in from Concept to make sure he gets a little bit of a revenge on Bradley. Shockwave goes wide, but they've got the damage on Armeo, or do they? Hayri turns that around. It's a 1-for-1 at the moment. And they have to escape this one because look at the bot lane. They haven't even been able to bring up Wild Turtle. It is a disadvantage for Immortals. They are doing their best to get out of there as Concept dies to Yawn.
And Armeo made that happen. That was a sick outplay on Chad's Viego. I want to see if we can get a second look at that because he was able to get on the other side, or step out, flash out of the Shockwave, then dodge out on the Viego ult. As we're going to get a second look. First off, Armeo, he combos his W to make sure that it's enough damage to burst down the Rift Herald. Smites it at 897. That's beautiful. And now the follow-up. Concept picks up this kill, but watch how Armeo plays it. Jumps out of the Shockwave. Then dashes to get over the unstoppable ultimate, dodge out on the Viego damage. He gets that kill. Team Liquid then turn it around on the heads of IMT. A really nice play coming out of Armeo.
It is. It was good to make sure that they could smite secure the Rift Herald, even if they couldn't collect it immediately. Hayri walked over after the fight, picked up the eye, just so the team has it, and Hayri too. Roaming up. He was 0-1 before that one. Now getting a kill and assist under his belt helps out this Rise get into a better position.
And now Team Liquid, they're going for a power play.
Got Pretty with
Joey's here to hover.
Pretty has low mana. That's a lot of damage eaten up, but it's going to be body blocked by Joey so that Pretty can survive.
And I think they're trying to do this. I mean, it frees up Harry, but also Harry does have the Rift Herald. So if they kill Pretty there, I think that's a drop. They try and take mid turret first. Nice hover by Joey and good sidestep by Pretty to dodge out on that. As we can see, so the lanes have flipped around a little bit, but I think we can still see how important and powerful Bradley is at this point of the game. Just force Concept's ultimate. He's still very strong in the side lane. This is still the member that Team Liquid can use to attack the other parts of the map. So I want to see if Immortals, they have to try and break the powerful solo laners at Team Liquid at the moment. Really difficult to break Rise and Camille early. And Immortals, you can see all the roams from Joey. They've been attempted, but they just haven't been able to find anything yet.
No, not yet. And for Immortals' sake, even if they have good team fighting and need to wait it out a little bit more, and we were applauding how they kind of counteracted a lot of Team Liquid, they had to continue that for a long time in order to make sure Team Liquid didn't get these advantages, which they now have. 2-0 for Yawn. Purely up to getting those first mythics built up on the team, even if we've seen that Immortals got a couple. You look at Pretty and Concept. It's just a temporary setback for Team Liquid. They got the gold. They just need to back and actually spend it.
Doing a hit on the build since we have a couple mythics coming in. 2 Trinity Forces already for Team Liquid. And it looks to be the Trinity Force build for Wild Turtle. So this is still the more standard Zeri build, but we did see Cowrie attempt the crypt build yesterday. As that one's fun. That one does a lot more damage, but I like this build because it helps you get tanky.
Yeah.
And against Team Liquid, you know this Camille Rise is going to be trying to port on top of you, get that Hextech ultimatum down. I think it's really important that Zeri is able to stay alive as long as possible as Team Liquid. That Rift Herald was expiring. They're going to throw it down bot to support Yawn. That will be first tower falling in their favor. Bot, and we'll see if they can use this to try and snowball into the Dragon as Bradley found Turtle.
Yeah, look, the damage. You can't escape from the ultimatum as Wild Turtle, so Bradley gets another solo kill.
And all it took was Joey showing mid. Team Liquid, they say Wild Turtle's on his own. We threw down the Herald bot. Immortals has absolutely no response for this. And once again, it's Team Liquid's map play. Ayla, Armeo, able to get out first with priority, not giving Immortals any answers. And when you combine that with your top laner finding a solo kill on the marksman, it's just Team Liquid breaking out a 2.5K gold lead at the 14-minute mark.
This is that early game that you had asked for. Even if it wasn't from the lanes winning out inherently, they got a little bit of priority. They could rotate around, and then the team fight where they team up Xin Zhao and Rise. That worked so well together to get them these advantages that they now can exert over Immortals. Getting Dragon, this is the second neutral of the game. Both of them have been for Team Liquid.
And this is going to be so difficult for Immortals to break because Bradley's just massive on this Camille. 1K gold up over Concept. Camille's, has the Trinity Force, is only going to get stronger with what we expect to be a second item Death Stance. And Immortals do not get shove in either side lane. And so now if Immortals want to set up for any of these objectives or team fights, they're just going to be getting collapsed upon by Team Liquid. A Team Liquid's pulling out 3 lanes like they should.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to wait for. Once they can set up the 1-3-1, send Camille on a side lane, send Ryze in a side lane, or, I mean, right now they can't do a 1-1-3 because they already got the turret. They already essentially had done that before with the help of the Rift Herald, and they have all the advantages in the world. The world is their oyster at this point in the game, and looking at what Immortals could do to combat that. They still do have excellent 5v5 fights, and we've seen that a lot from Immortals, that they rely heavily on all 5 members being together. But when you have a disadvantage, obviously it's going to make it more difficult, especially being that Concept is the one that is far behind. 1 and 3 compared to Bradley, his flanks might not necessarily have the impact you wish.
And it's going to force an overload play from Immortals, as I don't know if that ultimate spotted Wild Turtle or not, but you can see Wild Turtle sitting back, hovering in vision, maybe looking for an optimistic dredge line from Joey, as they know they can't answer the Ryze and the Camille. And Team Liquid spreading out this map, just poking out Immortals slowly, making it difficult as the second Rift Herald's up. Immortals might try to pull it, might look for a play, but it's still so scary. And Concept has to go catch that wave bot, so they can't get out on the map. And this is where Bradley's now freed up to try and roam, try and make a proactive play mid.
And look at exactly what he's doing. He is roaming up to look for a play mid.
He's not spotted.
He's not spotted at all. They should know he's nearby since the bot lane had been completely caught by Concept. But now they're actually getting members here. Immortals are the ones at a disadvantage. They are the ones that have to be threatened around this Rift Herald.
And fortunately, Ayla and Bradley did both reset, but that Crab being down as well, Immortals, they don't feel like they can fight Team Liquid. And I think this is the power, the strength of this Team Liquid roster. We've seen every game they've gotten Ayla back, they have gotten Karma Ezreal, but this team with priority, they play so intelligently, and it's just so difficult to find ways to break them, as they might have an opportunity as Harry. He's getting a little feisty on the top side, but they don't elect to pull the trigger. And Team Liquid, they pulled the Rift Herald.
Exactly. They noticed 3 members top side, so why not? You've got Concept pinned down in bot lane. He's only level 10. He might get level 11 to join in with this fight, but it will be too late. Rift Herald will already be taken by Immortals, but Immortals have overextended. They are now getting jumped on by Team Liquid. Look at that ultimatum to make sure they get the kill on Joey, but they lost Bradley in the fight. Concept has now joined in. That was a huge cyclone. He dies along the way, but they're kiting back, waiting for a bit more damage. No ults really to speak of on the side of Immortals that they can utilize. They don't have the shockwave anymore. They're just getting a little bit of harass onto Team Liquid as they escape. They got themselves a lot of advantage, but I'm trying to look who got the eye. It was Harry again picking it up.
Team Liquid managed to pick up the objective, as if possible, we do have a second look at this one, as Immortals, I mean, they fight in the choke. It's okay. I think that Bradley stepping up and ulting Joey is a little bit aggressive. It frees Wild Turtle up to free hit, which she does well. But you can see the strength of Team Liquid is still just a little bit too much. They get the objective. They trade the 1-for-1. But that is a decent fight for Immortals. Playing in that choke, utilizing the Wukong ultimate and the shockwave to buy time, buy space for their carries. That's the setup that Immortals are looking for. Team Liquid are looking to utilize the soul lanes to try and get a better pincer, a better attack. They weren't quite able to set it up perfectly there. So maybe we'll see that in the next fight. They're able to, have Bradley attack from the enemy jungle. That's where things are going to get really scary for Immortals.
A little scary at the moment, but at this exact moment, they're doing a little bit better than I'd expect. They still have to be careful. At least we're able to get a kill back, despite the fact the Rift Herald was picked up by Team Liquid. It's more of how things spell out from here, right, Cubby? Whether or not we see them set up that team fight, if they can find that flank, because they don't have TP anymore for Concept. Can't easily wrap around and find these squishier members of Team Liquid out of position.
And now Immortals, they're sprinting. They're stacked up. Wild Turtle's rotating over. They might be looking for another 5v5.
They could. Bradley's the one they first target, but he is going to be difficult to take down right away. That's why they have to peel back. With the dragon spawning in a couple seconds, Immortals attempt one final fight around that. They've got the Realm Warp coming out of Team Liquid to get right to the dragon and secure the pit.
And even in the choke, Team Liquid just say, we're going to escape this, right? Hop on in. I've got the party teleport going to the other side. We can get through this okay. They take the dragon, and Team Liquid a 4.5k gold lead. And I just want to return to something that Jan said at the start of the week. Talked to him on Wednesday, part of the podcast to do with wonderful caster Smacks. Jan said, we have Awa back. The boys are back. We expect to go 4-0. And the amount of confidence that Jan said it in, I almost couldn't believe it at the time. And we know that this roster is good. We know that these guys, 4 out of these 5 players, was a top 2 team in Academy last year. But it is an instant return to form with Awa back in the roster. And they haven't been taking any second looks from these teams, man. They've just been dominant this week.
Oh, even Bradley, looking at how dominant he has been playing
man.
of late. That ultimatum on to Pretty. Pretty's just dead. It's a solo
Wow.
kill. 3rd time this game out of Bradley.
And with Bradley's play, I mean, really the only thing we were looking for more out of this guy was him upping his lane phase. In team fights, he is leading all top laners in DPM. Now, part of that is he's playing a lot of team fight champions, but also it does speak to how well Bradley does maneuver in team fights. And we can see him now. He's had a couple good laning phases, even on these top lane champions that are new to Bradley. He's looking great this game on the Camille, man. That's his 2nd solo kill of the game, Mad Magical.
That's his 3rd.
3rd.
Concept,
All 3 have been
Wild
solo
Turtle,
bowls.
and then Pretty.
Oh, man. Bradley's Camille, man. Nasty. Padding the stats a little bit on the solo kill mark. And now, I mean, Baron's on the board, Mad Magical. It's a decently fast take for Team Liquid, and they can just use this to bait Immortals in. Now, they have to be careful because Immortals still have that good 5v5, but Immortals are just getting pulled around the map, left, right, and center, man. They have not been able to find any plays, any team fights against Team Liquid.
Well, and I keep talking about the team fight setup that Immortals have with their composition, the 5v5. But when can they actually accomplish that when they keep slipping behind? They are now nearly 6,000 gold behind. All neutral objectives have been picked up by Team Liquid.
And they're going to start getting their eyes on that big one there in the Baron. You can see Bradley poking around. And I think it's just, I mean, even some of the difficulties about playing a 1-3-1 against a Karma. Because I think that's something that has been kind of slept on about Team Liquid and this Yawn Ava strat they've been running for these 3 games. When you have Ezreal Karma get ahead in the lane phase and you shift them mid, it is impossible to get priority against them. You have to send 3+ members to even hope about getting a push in the mid wave. I mean, look at how far up Yawn's able to step up and just poke down Pretty. And now Immortals, the only reason they can hit this wave is because they have 4. It's an even push, and Yawn's is still the one that's connecting even more poke. And when you have this push mid, it takes away the opportunities for you to make a play on the 3 when you can't attack the side. So there's really just no place for Immortals to attack, and Team Liquid are just slowly winning the war of attrition.
Exactly. And I was going to say, Bradley didn't have TP. That would have been the one time Immortals could actually force a fight. But how could they when everyone from Team Liquid was playing it passively? They know they have the advantage. Why overextend at this point? Why throw yourselves at that Baron when you can set up the push, force Concept to have to meet that wave, and then look for your own fight like this?
Oh, boy.
They're forcing the TP out of Concept, but they've got
Here's
a lot
the
of damage on the
angle.
Wild Turtle. The
Wait,
Shockwave's
wait,
going to pull
wait,
back
wait.
one in. They've got
no.
Bradley. That's a huge cyclone on the other side as well to split up the fight from Team Liquid with the 1 pick for Immortals. That's kind of what they need to get back in this game.
Really well played by Joey. That depth charge on Bradley. He wasn't able to get the Hextech ultimatum off on Wild Turtle. Wasn't able to dodge out of the ultimate, and the chains were too good from Immortals. They pick up the kill.
It was depth charge into the Shockwave, into death.
It was well played.
It was
really well played.
That's communication that you want to see out of a team fight squad that has been drafted for Immortals.
And that's also, you know, Team Liquid just not quite finding the angles. Immortals retreating into their own jungle. If they push through that choke, I think it's the perfect fight, because then Bradley's coming from the side. He was still kind of, you know, coming at a front-to-back angle, so Immortals could retreat as a team. They weren't getting split up by Bradley, and they were able to make sure that they got their members out safely. It even took a kill with them. That's a big shutdown that went over to Immortals from that play. Good luck from them. See if they can rinse and repeat again for this upcoming Dragon as Team Liquid looking for Soul Point.
That's what they have to look for. They have to rinse and repeat a play like that over and over again, because they are still in the hole. 5,000 instead of the 6,000. They overextend it. It gives it all back. All what they just accomplished in that last play is completely out the window.
But you can still see how difficult it is against this Karma Ezreal. Yawn connecting with these Mystic shots, laying down the poke. The good news for Immortals is that Zeri did finish the Titanic Hydra. So this gives Zeri a lot more tankiness and a lot more damage with how that Q works with on-hit abilities. So this is a team fight that Immortals, I mean, they do scale very well, especially in the 5v5 with the Zeri. Wild Turtle's level 13 has over 2k health. If Team Liquid aren't clean in attacking the Zeri, they can be shut down. And you can see Immortals, they're actually the ones finding the pincer.
Look at Concept.
Yeah, he's looking.
He's ready with the blast cone. They didn't take that away. They tried to spot out with the blue trinket. It's low. Fight. It's secured by the side of Team Liquid, but there's no blast cone over the wall.
Now.
Concept, how do you get in the pit? You used the blast cone, but you didn't get anywhere, so you are just standing around while the rest of your team is falling. A lot of damage. Shockwave onto 2 members, but not enough damage to pick up Yawn just yet. They have Pretty Go Golden, but here's Concept finally joining in with the fight with the double cyclone onto members of Team Liquid, but everyone's still pretty healthy. They can fight back, waiting it out as Yawn looks to kite. Same with Harry. Forces out the Realm Warp just to make sure he can scare off Immortals, who are really low. Look at Joey and Wild Turtle. They cannot continue to fight.
A close fight, no one falls, and Team Liquid, I do have to praise Yawn for peppering Immortals with these Mystic shots, but I think Immortals, I know they lost the Dragon, but given how far behind they are, I think they piloted out that team fight okay, and now they're looking for more after Team Liquid. They don't know Pretty's here. This could be bad.
They don't, and here's Chad with the ult over, immediately eviscerating Ormeo. Ayla, he will survive, but he has no flash now.
Nice move by Chad. Team Liquid did not see that coming. Immortals at least able to pick up a shutdown in the back half, buy some time on the map for them to fix their sideways against Team Liquid. And Immortals actually, with that kill, that is Smite off the board. They could be posturing very aggressively here as...
You have to. I think you have to if you're Immortals. That's a lot of damage coming in from Yawn, but you need to force the issue. You have to look for this objective because it is 3 dragons on the other side. There's no jungler. This is a small window that you've been gifted Immortals, but you couldn't do it.
Yawn's Ezreal, man. It's been so good the last... He only died twice in both games combined yesterday. 302 here. I think back when Yawn started off on 100 Thieves Next, Akinoki, he was known for his Ezreal play. And him returning, we haven't seen a ton of Ezreal. I still think he's very playable, especially into the Aphelios matchup out of the popular marksman that we have. But watching him just blind it, play it with this Karma the last couple days, man, Magical, it's been so good for Team Liquid. And I think Yawn, I know we set up Bradley as this big carry, but of course Yawn, he's the big problem that Immortals have to solve because in the 5v5, they only have the depth charge to deal with him. And Joey, he might be in position to deal with him right now.
You think you have to. You have to attack him because if you ask me, Yawn is the carry, Bradley is the facilitator. That is going to be the guy who can help set up a lot of these fights, but you need Yawn pumping out that damage. If they can get on to this Ezreal, there's the depth charge to chase him down. He will get eventually knocked up, but it's not into the wall. It's Armeo cutting off so he can keep Yawn safe. A lot of damage. There is a TP behind them. They're getting caught off. Bradley's going to show up, but so is Concept. Joey's so low. Gets a heal out of Wild Turtle to survive, and now Cyclone doubled up from Concept, but so much damage is forcing him to flash away. Avery too, he's pretty tanky to survive for quite some time. And look at the re-engage coming in from Team Liquid. They're peppering every member, looking for Concept, but couldn't get it. The mini blocked that one as well.
And the way that Team Liquid's playing with this Karma Ezreal, they're not fully committing into Immortals. They know that they win the War of Attrition, they win the Poke War, so they just take the health bars, and while no members fall, it's enough damage for them to start up this Baron with confidence. Now, IMT, they had to send a couple of people back. Concept doesn't have TP, so this is a 3v5 at the moment, and Team Liquid, they're still sticking it.
Dad has to go for an amazing steal, and that is why Team Liquid peel off.
Yeah,
they know he's still up. And look at that damage onto Pretty. They got a stun. They've got a shutdown onto Yawn. That's big. There goes the carry. Here's Concept on the other side. Harry taking a lot of damage coming in from Wild Turtle, so they can get another shutdown for Wild Turtle.
Immortals just turned everything on its head as the Shockwave. It caught Yawn, the big hero. He had flash up. He wasn't able to get out of it. Pretty. He helps turn this back in favor of Immortal. Shutdowns going over, the Baron going over. That's critical, Mad Magical, because now Team Liquid, they're going to have this Baron up for when the Soul point spawns. They can now contest Soul for Team Liquid, and just like that, Immortals are back in the game.
The team fighting composition, team fought that one well. Getting those kills, especially the shutdown on a Yawn and Harry, both of which were picked up by Wild Turtle, nets them a Baron as well, so we can look at this replay and see how it exactly happened.
And Yawn just gets caught by the Shockwave. That's the big part here. He's walking up, trying to fish for Mystic shots. He doesn't flash out of it. He gets one shot, a beautiful turn from Chad and the Immortal squad. And then from there, I mean, it's just free pickings, right? That Ezreal's down. You're no longer getting peppered. You can step up, take down Harry. And just like that, we have an even gold game. Both teams are fighting over the Soul. If Team Liquid get this, they turn that bad fight on its head again. But now Immortals, they feel like they could be the stronger team. That's a Runan's finished on Zeri. Wild Turtle is going to be a menace in this fight.
And where it went from Yon having a half item to an item lead over Wild Turtle, that is now flipped. It is dead even between the two members, these two carries for each side.
And I love Concept's positioning, just trying to stop the pincer coming out from Bradley as Armeo eats a dredge line. He's forced to ult, and Immortals, they've won this war of attrition. I think Team Liquid have to seed the dragon.
They could try to go for a YOLO steal, but I don't think you really want to. Seed it, no problem. Even if it slows down your soul for the moment, you still have 3 under your belt.
And you can still see how much damage Yon's putting out, how confident he's able to step up with the Karma. He's got a red buff, too. And this is the angle Team Liquid want. Harry Armeo are in on the side.
John took a lot of damage, but the heal, that's a good
Nice
amount
flash.
of healing. So now Chad is the one caught out. They don't have Concept here. He flashes towards the team, but look at the damage coming in with ultimate of Bradley. They've got a 1-for-1 at the moment. Concept should join soon, but they've already lost Joey. It's a double kill.
Turtle.
And look at Yon getting a lot of damage. Turtle's still alive. The flash barely keeping him going. They get the kill onto 1, waiting it out, getting that damage. Well, true shot barrage. Ooh. It's a shutdown, and it's a kill for Yon. There's no more carries on the side of Immortals. It is going to be hunted season for Yon. 1 Pepper, 2 Pepper. There's Harry on a killing spree, and Pretty caught on the wrong side of the rift. They can gift this one over to Yon, just momentarily waiting it out for 1 more shot for the ace.
And Yon's Ezreal, it's so good. He made the one mistake in the fight around the Baron, but no mistakes this time as Chad overextends. The preemptive flash from Awa ensures that he's caught out. And this fight gets hairy because Bradley going in at the moment, this is the shockwave, this is the peel from Immortals. Pretty plays it beautifully. Yon almost goes down, but him surviving, Harry and Armeo getting all the damage down on the Wild Turtle, that's what enables Yon to hit this ultimate. As once the Zeri's off the map, that's where Team Liquid can push back in. Now, important that Immortals picked up the dragon at the start of all this, but Team Liquid, they get shutdown gold back on their side. They're now up 3k gold coming out of this fight. And it really is off the back of just some fantastic Ezreal play from Yon.
And this is the thing. This is why you've been talking about this whole game, Gubby, is that Yon's Ezreal is so good. It's so clean. 1 misstep this whole game, you'll take that if you're Team Liquid, because now he's got that lead back. The items are favoring him once more, finishing off that Frozen Heart, making sure there's going to be a little bit less damage from a lot of the 80 heavy members on Immortal's side.
And now, I mean, Immortals are back in the same bind that they were in before that Baron, Mad Magical. They can't get out of their base. They can't really get access to the jungle. It is Team Liquid getting pushed in all the lanes they want. Now, the one thing that I'm still looking for out of Team Liquid this game, and especially as we go later, you can see how big of an issue this Zeri is. Wild Turtle now has a death's dance. It's going to be so hard to take him down. I still think that Bradley and Harry haven't quite found the right angles. And I want to see if Bradley can use the push in the side lanes to get that big angle onto the Zeri, because with the 4 items now on Zeri, you have to connect the Hextech ultimatum onto this champion, or else she's going to be able to run rampant in these fights, and Team Liquid can't deal with that.
And looking at this, a lot is onto Bradley, but I'm also then flipping the script and looking at Concept. I think Concept has a very similar role with those Cyclones. He has to get on top of Yon. Yon is the problem. Harry did a lot of damage in that last fight, but Yon truly, to me, is the big threat that they have to contend with.
Honestly, I think Immortals just have to peel the Zeri, and I don't think they can eat as much poke as they have been eating before some of these fights, and we'll have to see if Immortals can navigate this a little bit better, as we are 90 seconds away from this 5th dragon of the game. Once again, if Team Liquid get this, it is Soul Point. And Infernal Soul with an Ezreal is something that I don't think anyone wants to play against on the side of Immortals. So if Team Liquid are able to pick this up, I think it's really important for how the rest of this game pans out. And I know that Yon's the big carry, the person that we've really been hyping up, has been playing so well in this game, but I think it still is going to fall on the shoulders of Bradley plus Harry getting on Zeri. They have to make a sound engage, find the angles, because the peeling tools from Immortals have been very good.
That is true. You can utilize Shockwave and Cyclone to peel as well as engage. And if Immortals can pull that off, it would work out. It worked out in a couple of those fights, but that last one, definitely not. That was a lot on Team Liquid, playing it out well. Yon kiting it back. Harry as well, being right up in front and personal in the members of Immortals. That's why they have this lead. Even if it's not nearly as large as it had been previously when it was that 6,000 lead at one point, Having at least a 2,500 gold lead over Immortals here, 35 minutes into the game, better than not having a lead at all.
And you can see Bradley, so that top lane is somewhat shoved up, and you can already see Bradley trying to find an angle. He's getting pinged out, though, by Immortals. Immortals are actually just sprinting after the Camille. He stole the blue buff. Will use the blast cone to get out, as Bradley does have to wait for Immortals to show on this wave before he can push forward. But Immortals have prio over the bot river. They just have to be very careful about all the damage they're eating from Yawn, because look at this.
Gone with those arcane shifts, too, to avoid the dredge line at the very bitter end.
He's so confident.
It is. It's just he waits until the last moment. I keep thinking one of those is going to land.
Now, given the positioning, Team Liquid, they've actually just dropped the dragon.
Oh!
Bradley, he's splitting. No one stopped him, so he's just going to take the inhibitor turret on his own. Now, Bradley's very far up. Team Liquid are starting the Baron, trying to pull IMT around the map as this Baron's at 5K.
You are now caught in a dilemma. It is a lose-lose situation. You
Concept
could lose
showing.
the base.
Baron's gone.
Bradley takes it, but you also lost the Baron at the same time. Armeo accidentally left behind. I don't think that was on purpose. I think he meant to take the party truck with him, and now they have to just forfeit. He's doing his best to kite out for a long time, but look at the TBs back into the base. Harriers are going to look for the backdoor. They've got a lot of damage on Armeo. They got the Rampage on a concept. Even if they get that one kill, that's going to be the TB coming back in from Pretty to save the base, but they've got Chad right on top of Yawn, but he dodges away. Double kill from Yawn. What a godlike player.
And the bases, they've been stopped. Harry, they killed Immortals just like that. Team Liquid, they end the game.
It's over. Not only do they secure the Baron, not only do they secure the split push at the same damn time, but they get the Nexus along with it. Joey is all dead. Ace for Yawn. This is Team Liquid's time to shine.
And I was looking for them to push and pull Immortals around the map with the 1-3-1 to find the angles, find the team fight on the Zeri, but I think Team Liquid, they had enough of those team fights. It had been wrapped at the end. They had dropped a couple in a row, or a couple have been really close against Immortals, and they just said, all right, we're just going to send Bradley in the lane. It is rage split push or you die, and Bradley ended up rage split pushing the base with a little bit of help from Harry at the end. Team Liquid ended up finding that win.
Well, Cubby, we talked about that being a possibility. It's a really good team fight on the side of Immortals, but really good split push on the side of Team Liquid. They utilized that. Now, and the crazy thing is, they pretty much went for 2 plays at once, and both of them worked.
And I think that's also a part of the experience this Team Liquid roster has. And I know that on the side of Immortals, we talked about how, you know, some of the changes with LCS can impact your academy team. That's one thing that we know. Arrow is a huge voice in this team, and it's an opportunity for rookies to kind of step up and step more into that role, and also an opportunity for Wild Turtle to really be a leader as someone that has been playing in LCS since Season 3. And at that instance, I mean, that might be something where, you know, we see some of those roster changes having an impact as IMT just weren't able to make a real decisive call. Concept loses the 1v1 against Bradley, and then they have to send Pretty in. They couldn't stop the bases. They couldn't win the fight. And it was some nice heroics coming out of Team Liquid as a whole. But also at the end, we have to recognize that Immortals somewhat fell apart.
They did. And also just looking at this, it was a bit late from Pretty to TP back in. He needed to show up to help Concept. It was a 1v2 both times. It was essentially just sending more more people into the Lions Den each time, just one after another, instead of actually fighting the Lions as a group.
And, you know, part of that is just the kitchen sink being thrown in the Immortals by Team Liquid. I mean, that forces errors, forces mistakes. A great example there of how Team Liquid was able to do that, and they end up putting together a nice win.
With that, they go up 1-0 over Immortals. They also stick at 7-1 now in their last 7-1? No, 6-1. 6-1. There we go. I can do math.
Trying to be 7-1.
Yeah, trying to be 7-1. If they can win this next game, but we'll only be able to find that out after a break. We got our halftime show as well. Make sure you stay tuned.